All right, what's good, people of YouTube? You already know the vibes. No intro, no BS. I can't cuss, for the first 10 seconds of the video, or else YouTube's gonna be on my gluteus maximus. You know what I'm saying? I gotta use big words for now. But you know what I'm saying? We're here for another reaction. Today's a little something different. You know what I'm saying? It is the 2013 NBA draft 10 years later. Now, I got a lot of history with it. Well, not with this video, but with the 2013 draft. So 2013, like 2012, 2013 was the year that I actually started watching basketball. Not seriously, but I actually started paying attention to it. And you also got to thank 2K for putting me on to basketball. Because if it wasn't for 2K, I probably wouldn't be watching basketball. Because I got so good at 2K that I was like, all right, who the fuck are these players? Why is this dude like a 95 and why is this dude like a 70? Like, what is this? What does this all mean? And I watched the NBA and I'm like, I understand now. There's a hierarchy to this. But the 2013 draft, I'm pretty sure a lot of people remember this draft. Specifically me, this is the first draft class that I ever watched live, bro. I didn't know who was who. I didn't know nothing about none of these players. All I know is in hindsight, I mean, we got hindsight now. All I know is that they probably gonna talk about Anthony Bennett, who was the biggest draft bust in NBA history. Probably gonna talk about Giannis. Probably gonna talk about Victor Oladipo. Probably gonna talk about Cody Zeller. Probably gonna talk about Nerlens Noel going second overall. Or not the second over, third overall, I think. I think he went to the 76ers or some shit. Or was it? And then they're probably gonna talk about Alex Len being a bust. So
the NBA in 2013 was strange. The Heat just won their second straight title. They and the Thunder and Spurs were at the top of the league. The rest of the league was not nearly as talented as it is now, with David Lee, Rudy Gay, J.R. Smith all being in the top 20 in points per game. And going into the 2013 draft, the vibe around the class was uncertainty. There were a few big players that everyone was keeping an eye on at the top. Victor Oladipo, an athletic two-way guard that was on the shorter side.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this draft class is similar. It's kind of similar to the to this draft class right now, where you don't really, except for like Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, you really don't know who is gonna, you know what I'm saying, go crazy this draft class. Like, we do got Victor Wembanyama. He's the highest prospect. We are expecting him to go crazy. I'm not. I'm expecting him to average like 11 points, 10 rebounds, get like 3-4 blocks per game. You know, regular big man shit. I'm not expecting him to be like Kevin Durant or nothing. But this draft class, I think they had Alex Len being the first pick in the draft this year. And then it was a surprise when I think he fell to like the 5th pick or something.
Wasn't a great shooter, but had plenty of upside. Cody Zeller, a skilled post big that was seen as a top pick during his freshman season the year before at Indiana, before deciding to return to school and then enter the draft in 2013.
Yeah, this nigga Cody Zeller, this nigga had a ball spot in a year. Now you go ball in like a year.
One of the best shooters in the class, even drawing some Ray Allen comparisons. Alex Len, who leading up to the draft had multiple mocks putting him down as the first pick in the draft.
Exactly. They had this nigga going number 1. I'm like, what?
I mean, he was kind of big and mobile, I guess. And lastly, Nerlens Noel, who was seen as the top prospect during most of the college season before a really rough knee injury and complete lack of offense.
I'm not gonna lie, in 2K, this nigga was playing like prime Bill Russell. I'm not gonna lie. He was blocking every shot and he was grabbing every rebound, bro. This nigga was playing like prime Bill.
In serious doubt. So yeah, that's the top of the 2013 NBA draft. A handful of okay, but very flawed prospects, and not a
they were all mid
person knew
except for maybe
the top 5 picks.
I mean, in hindsight, except for maybe
Oladipo
and obviously
the
Giannis.
The draft belonged to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were a few years removed from LeBron leaving them the first time, and it put together a slightly interesting young group of talent led by Kyrie Irving, and also including Tristan Thompson and Dion Waiters. They finished with the 3rd worst record in the league the year before, so they really needed anything they could get, and the player that they picked, even in a draft where literally nobody knew what would happen and everyone was prepared for weirdness, shocked everyone.
Anthony Bennett.
Whoa!
Nigga said, whoa! Like, like, bro, that nigga was surprised, bro, because I'm pretty sure nobody that year, I mean, I didn't know, like I said, when I was watching this, when I was little, I didn't know who the fuck was who. I'm like, okay, Anthony Bennett, first overall pick, he about to go crazy. And in 2K14, this nigga had the chop for no reason. He had the Blickiana from the 3-point line. He was out there playing like prime Kobe in 2K. But IRL, this nigga can barely hit a shot. I'm like, bro, what? I'm playing as this nigga in 2K thinking, this shit about to translate to the actual game. Or to the actual NBA. It did not at all. This nigga was ass.
Bennett, the worst first overall pick in the history of basketball.
The worst. And that says a lot, because there's a lot of number 1 picks. You got LaRue Martin, who was the first bust. You got I'm not gonna call Sam Bowie a bust. He was a second overall pick. You got fucking Kwame Brown. You got fucking Andre Bargnani. I'm not gonna consider Andrew Bogut a bust because he was a serviceable and good player for his whole career. Yeah, he was way better than Kwame Brown and Andre Bargnani. Fucking Michael Olowokandi. Like, come on, bro. Like, how you worse than all those niggas? You know what I'm saying? At least those niggas, they was able to stay in the league for like at least 7-8 years. You was only in the league for like 3-4. You was going after the fourth year.
So strange. There is a reason that I didn't mention him in the beginning where I went through all the big name players before this draft, and that's because he simply wasn't one. There was some interesting stuff from him in college, most notably being pretty agile at his size and showing some occasional high upside scoring skill, but he was seen as a top 7 to 12 prospect and a very...
Yeah, they had this nigga going 10th overall in the draft, and little do they know the Cleveland Cavaliers were trying to tank to get Andrew Wiggins, and then they ended up trading Andrew Wiggins for LeBron. So I mean, it worked out for them. They got a ring. So
and almost nobody thought that he would go first. The Cavs were also desperately trying to move out of this pick because even they knew that Bennett shouldn't go there. But obviously they couldn't find any takers. What didn't make any sense at all was drafting Bennett, who scored 217 total points on 35%.
217 points in one season. Yeah, this nigga.
Shooting from the field.
35% from the field.
As the number 1 overall pick. Both of those marks are worse than even the infamous Kwame Brown as a rookie. Bennett is without question.
Oh, and then nigga airballed the hook shot. How did the Cleveland Cavaliers look at this nigga and be like, yeah, he's number 1 pick. He's gonna transcend the league. Like, what?
Pick in NBA history.
Nigga thought they was getting a steal with AB. No.
Unfortunately for the vibes of this video, things get much better with the 2nd overall pick. The Orlando Magic held this selection and they just finished up their first full season after trading away Dwight Howard.
The best singer in the NBA.
They had a young Tobias Harris and Nikola Vucevic, both of which were already looking like interesting pieces.
Oh, I forgot they had Aaron Aflalo.
But clearly they needed a talent upgrade and someone that looked at least a little bit like a franchise player. They went with Victor Oladipo, who, if he could refine his offensive skill, could blossom into an all-star perimeter creator, or worst case, become a solid 2-guard to support whatever star the Magic eventually drafted. In all, this is one of the best picks at the top of what was a very bad draft, even if Oladipo's best years as a pro happened outside of Orlando.
No, it wasn't.
Everybody that the Magic could have realistically
not a bad pick at all.
He was their best option as he is the only player in the top 14 picks of...
It's kind of sad because Victor Oladipo, his career is fucked up right now because of injuries, but in his prime, like the first few years in Orlando, and then when he got traded to OKC, that was like he was developing. That was like his development stage. And then when he got to the Pacers, bro, he became he was that nigga for a moment. He almost beat LeBron in the first round. I'm not gonna say by himself. Because he had Bogdan with him. Yeah, I think he had Miles Turner. He had a few He had a few pieces. But like, bro, like he almost beat the best player in the league at that point. Yeah, the best player in the league at that point. In 7 games. I thought after like the 4th game, like they were gonna win, and then LeBron was like, "No, I'm not about to lose to fucking Indiana." Like what? Like what?
This draft that made an all-star team, and he also made All-NBA as well. And he's one of only 3 players in the entire draft that made even just 1 all-star team in their careers. Picking 3rd were the Washington Wizards, and they were in desperate search of a 3rd star alongside their incredibly talented young backcourt duo.
We got Bradley Beal. Who did they pick up? They picked up Otto Porter Jr.
Clear, even at this point, that Beal and Wall would develop into really good players, but the 3rd best guy on the team in 2013 was Martell Webster.
Webster.
Wizards needed to hit on this pick, and this was one spot where there was actually a good amount of certainty heading into the draft.
This is when Marcin Gortat was nice.
Jr. to still be there at 3, and for the Wizards to pick him. Porter was seen as a high-floor complementary prospect that likely wouldn't become a high-level all-star, but should be able to guard and shoot and create just enough to be considered a solid starter in the league. And although
Otto Porter Jr., he was alright. He wasn't bad. He wasn't like great. Obviously, he wasn't like, you know what I'm saying. But that's, you could say that for a lot of niggas in this draft class. They weren't really, like he said in the beginning, they weren't really expected to go crazy. This was a weird draft class. But Otto Porter Jr., bro, he played his role. He was a 3-and-D player. He got a ring with the Warriors, playing his role, being a 3-and-D guy. He can guard from he can guard the 1 to like maybe the 4. You probably guard the 4 depending on who the fuck is at the 4. But Oh yeah, at a point he was nice, bro. Like you said, this was in college though. He was averaging like 16 points per game in college, but obviously that shit didn't translate over to the NBA.
That might not sound inspiring. It honestly wasn't an awful choice to go with the high floor player in such a bad draft. And despite a lot of hate from fans because of some big contracts that he signed, Porter mostly lived up to his draft evaluation in his career. He never became an all-star level player, but was really underrated as a shooter and a nice compliment alongside.
He was a
solid choice.
I'll say this: I'm not a great role player. He was a really good role player because there are great role players.
Yes, Bobcats were selecting. They had Kemba Walker, who looked like a solid scoring guard, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, who they picked a year before at second overall, and we hadn't all realized how terrible he was yet, and also Bismack Biyombo, Gerald Henderson. They somehow won 21 games the year before, but I feel like in today's NBA, this roster would have won like.
I'm trying to remember, who did they pick up?
They ended up with Cody Zeller, a selection that a lot of people actually really liked at the time. It might be.
So I forgot, this is when they changed to the. I think it was their last year being the Bobcats, and then they changed over to the Hornets the year after. Okay, that makes more sense. That's why I was confused. I'm like,
strange
the Bobcats.
Now, but people really liked Cody Zeller in college. He was a skilled big that could score in the post, and we hadn't quite gone away from that version of bigs in the NBA yet. The weird thing was they picked Zeller and then immediately signed Al Jefferson in free agency, a skilled big that could score in the post exclusively. Seriously, having Al Jefferson on your team meant that when he's out there, he's getting the ball in the post almost every single time down the floor.
Not literally.
And he was good. He made an All-NBA team in his first year with the Bobcats, but if they were going to sign him,
prime Al Jefferson was a problem in the post. I'm not gonna lie. Niggas forget about Al Jefferson.
To be fair, there was a
Cody Zeller was ass though. He did not live up to his draft
expectations at all. Better than the guards as a whole at this point.
He's a decent rebounder. That's about it. But
Zeller was the definition.
They were looking for him to like score.
In Charlotte, never reaching anything close to the scoring potential.
Yeah, look at him.
Thought that he had as
a like niggas was expecting him to score.
We have yet another team transitioning to a new era, the Phoenix Suns. They just finished
Alex Len, the GOAT.
On the team after trading him to the Lakers in 2012. And
now, it's crazy. The Suns are really infamous for drafting 2 busts in a row. I mean, I'm not gonna call them busts because they were high draft picks. So yeah, you can technically call them busts. Top 5 draft pick. If you're a top 5 draft pick in the draft, then yeah, that's a high pick. So yeah, then they drafted Alex Len. And I think the year after that they drafted No, it wasn't Dragan Bender. They drafted him in 2015. I think I forgot how they drafted in 2014. Oh, was it different? No, did they draft it different? No, that. I get my whole shit mixed up, bro. I'm not gonna lie, but all I remember is that they drafted Dragan Bender.
The Morris twins and Morrison Gortat earned them a top 5 pick in an awful draft. Really, the Suns just needed talent here, so they went with a guy that, as I established earlier, some mocks had going first overall. Alex Len, who at his peak was a durable 20-minute per game backup 5. Moving on now to the far more interesting part of the draft, 6th overall. Going into draft night, this pick was held by the 2012-13 New Orleans Hornets, but soon to be the 2013-14 New Orleans Pelicans. They won 27 games in Anthony Davis's rookie season, surrounded by a core of Eric Gordon, Ryan Anderson, and Al-Farouq Aminu. Not great, but it was already clear how awesome Davis was going to be, and when healthy, the surrounding pieces weren't awful. However, the night of the draft, the Pelicans decided...
Hold up. So Devin Booker was drafted in 2015. I remember now. He was drafted in 2015, and then after that, they drafted Dragan Bender. They drafted Dragan Bender in 2016. Okay. I remember now. Nerlens Noel though. Yeah, Alex Len, like I said, he wasn't really. He wasn't good, bro. He wasn't. I mean, he was a decent defender, but he was nice for like 1 year. He was good for like 1 or 2 years, and then he just completely became shit. He became a liability because they went from being. They went away from serviceable big man that can just get rebounds and play defense and play the perimeter a little bit. They want niggas that can spread the floor, not fucking clog it up.
First to the Philadelphia 76ers, Drew Holiday. Holiday was only 22 years old, but was immediately the best player on the roster while Davis developed. And really the only reason this trade didn't work out better for the Pelicans is because Holiday didn't play a ton of games his first few years with the team. The Sixers, meanwhile, had the opposite idea of the Pelicans. They won just 34 games the year before behind Holiday, Evan Turner, and Thaddeus Young, but pretty clearly had no upside to be a high-level team. And with new members of the front office in charge, Sam Hinkie began the tank fest that was the process, and it all began with this trade. They went from a middle-of-the-pack team to a sub-20 win team for 3 straight years after this trade, which was all part of the plan. Another piece of that plan was to draft high upside players, which they certainly did by selecting Nerlens Noel 6th overall. Had Noel never hurt his knee at Kentucky, he would have been the first pick in this draft. He was an incredibly talented defensive player that played with great energy and was the only thing remotely close to a sure thing that this draft had to offer at the top. Unfortunately for him, his career never really got started. He did have some interesting moments, especially defensively, but this era of the Sixers was an incredibly difficult place to start an NBA career with the constant losing and lack of overall development.
Hey, he got paid, though. New York gave him that bag, though, just for playing defense. Hey, I ain't mad at it, my nigga. If they giving you a bag just to block shots and get rebounds, hey, look at Rudy Gobert. He getting paid $200 million just to block shots and get rebounds. He can't score to save his life unless he's right under the basket. Like, and this nigga, I mean, he over here shooting threes in France, but this nigga needs to be doing that in the NBA. How you doing that in the FIBA tournament, but you're not doing that in the NBA? We need you to score, nigga. If you're getting paid $200 million, we need you to improve your game, sir. Sir. Like, come on, sir. But like, yeah, Nerlens Noel, bro, he got his bag. Like you said right here, 7 points per game, 6 rebounds. Basically 2 blocks per game if you round that up. So yeah, he served his role, but like 6th pick in the draft, I don't.
Development, not to mention that the.
But like I said, most of these niggas in this draft weren't really that good anymore. They weren't really projected to be all stars. Even Giannis, he wasn't projected to be an all star. In hindsight, obviously, like you look at him and be like, yeah, this nigga's one of the best players to ever play basketball. But when he first got drafted, he was some scrawny little kid, like 6'8" kid from Greece. So.
And consecutive drafts.
Niggas didn't really expect much from him, but he had a good work ethic though.
2015.
And that showed.
Really got comfortable playing alongside the other bigs that
Philly that hustle though.
And the Sixers gave up on him after just a few seasons. I honestly believe that the fact that
Robert
Embiid survived
Covington
the process and became an MVP just shows how incredible of a player he is. And 2, Noel getting hurt and then landing in Philly were the 2 worst things that could have happened to him to start his NBA career.
Is that Ish Smith?
All defensive team level center and a good
rim
roller, which is good enough to make plenty of money as a pro, but it just wasn't.
I think that's Ish Smith. Is that Ish Smith?
His legacy is more about the trade than anything else. Next up is 7th overall, which was held by the, at the time, still very sad Sacramento Kings. They had DeMarcus Cousins and
I think I know what he picked up. I think they picked up Ben.
Technically, they had Tyreek Evans
and Isaiah
the
next Ray Allen.
Neither of them helped them much moving forward. Cousins, however, despite his flaws, already looked like a future All-NBA caliber player and was becoming a devastating offensive force.
Yeah, this is when Boogie was the best big man in the league, bro. This is when the same shit that Joel Embiid's doing now. Well, I mean, yeah, the same movements that you see Joel Embiid doing now, DeMarcus Cousins was doing that back in 2014-15. Like he was one of the most versatile offensive big man in the NBA at this point. Or he was the most versatile offensive big man in the league at this point. Obviously, his defense was ass. Obviously, he wasn't a really good passer, and he was a hothead. He was emotional as hell. But besides all that, he was the best big man in the NBA at this point.
And that's exactly what
and then so Joel Embiid came.
With Ben McLemore at 7 overall. And plenty of smart draft people loved this guy as a prospect. They were Ray Allen comparisons. Some people thought he was the most talented player in the draft.
Yeah, niggas was calling this nigga Ray Allen 2.0. I'm like, bro, no.
He was athletic, a great shooter, could create his own shot, and was a really productive player at Kansas the year before. What people missed a little bit, though, was that he was actually a bit older as a college player, despite technically being a freshman.
He was?
He turned 21 during the All-Star break of his rookie season.
Damn.
And that's likely why he was so productive and looked so good at Kansas and was never able to keep up that
nigga was a 20-year-old rookie. Damn.
8th overall is a
well, 20 years old is not old, but like as a rookie?
The Pistons had this pick, and their 29-win team featured the young core of Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond, and Brandon Knight. During this offseason after the draft, they actually
forgot about Greg Monroe. Nigga forgot about Reggie Jackson too, and fucking Tayshaun Prince. What the fuck?
And also signed Josh Smith to a huge contract to play alongside Monroe and Drummond for some reason. Who really knows? But with this pick, they went with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who, despite his best years being outside of Detroit, was a really good pick here. There were even rumors of him getting a max contract offer once his rookie deal was done with the Pistons. Yes, that was a real thing, but ended up on the Lakers.
Max contract is crazy.
Nuggets. He never became an all-star, but a serviceable 3-and-D wing with a little bit of driving ability is a really solid pick at this point in this draft. Number 9 now.
Yeah, KCP's nice. Obviously, like you said, even his first year as a rookie, like he was a pretty serviceable guard in the league. You know what I'm saying? He was able to get his buckets. But he didn't really blossom until he got to LA. Until he played with LeBron, aka until he played with LeBron James. But that's a lot of players. Why does my mouse keep moving over there?
Traded back with the Jazz, something that doesn't really happen all that often. They got the 14th and 21st picks in this draft in exchange for 9, and the Jazz picked guard Trey Burke out of Michigan, who just had an incredible run in the NCAA tournament. His shot making and creation was unbelievable during that stretch, and despite
his
being
shot
a
was
smaller
cheese in
guard,
2K.
the Jazz took a chance on him being the point guard that they needed, with their front court pretty much being set with Gordon Hayward, Derek Favors, and Enes Kanter.
Look at that shot.
Solid 43-win
So niggas call him AI 2.0
after losing Al Jefferson in free agency. Burke did basically nothing for the Jazz or really any other team simply because he would have needed to be an incredible
He was I'm not gonna say he was
player
ass. He was
to make up for his lack of size. But on the bright side, the Jazz didn't really give up much in the trade anyway. Just Shabazz Muhammad at 14 and Gorgui Dieng at 21.
Like his rookie year, he was pretty bad, but then later on, he started to become a little bit more productive. So I'll give it to him. But yeah, 9 points per game rookie season. I'm not gonna be like your ass for that. Like, it's your rookie season. You expected to, you know what I'm saying? This is your learning curve. You never been in the NBA before. You don't know what's what. You know what I'm saying? So. 9 points per game is expected
in this video.
From a 9th overall pick.
The Jazz are going to get a huge piece in this draft just a little bit later on. At number 10 now is the absolute steal of this draft if a certain MVP didn't exist. The Trailblazers had this pick and actually had a really strong core of LaMarcus Aldridge, Nick Batum, Wes Matthews, and Rookie of the Year Damian Lillard. And despite winning just 33 games, this was a solid team. They were right around 500.
Who did they pick up? You'll tell me. I forgot a lot about this. I forgot a lot about this draft. I only remember like the first like 6-7 picks. I used to remember all the niggas.
They ended up with CJ McCollum.
Oh, fucking CJ McCollum was drafted in 2013. Yo, that's crazy. I didn't know. I forgot. I don't remember in 2K14, this nigga was like a fucking, bro. This nigga was like a 62 over. He was a low ass overall. They had no faith in this man.
Small school darling from Lehigh that had some great moments of his own in the NCAA tournament.
They had no faith in this guy.
Became what the Jazz thought Trey Burke might be, a great shot creator and maker despite being a smaller guard.
And they drafted him Bro, they left him on the table for Portland to pick him up. Nah, imagine he went to Utah, bro. I think that's when they were because I think the year after that they got Gordon Hayward and Rudy Gobert was cooking too. So yeah, bro, they probably would have been a problem. Gordon Hayward in his prime with CJ McCollum. Did they have Rudy Gobert was a Derek Favors. I think they had Derek Favors at that time.
Though, it took McCollum some time to really become the player we know now, as he had some injury issues and it took him some time to earn the trust of the coaching staff. Ultimately, even after losing LaMarcus Aldridge in free agency, the Trailblazers would go on to make the conference finals with their backcourt of Lillard and McCollum, a sustained stretch of success that wouldn't have been possible without this pick. Speaking of Rookie of the Year Damian Lillard, the Rookie of the Year from this class comes from the 11th.
Oh,
pick.
yeah.
The Sixers
MCW.
ended up being their second first-round pick of the night. We covered that situation earlier, and they went with big guard Michael Carter-Williams from Syracuse.
MC
and this guy had
Dub.
a crazy start to his career. He was putting up triple-doubles, flashing a weird, big playmaking guard type.
26% from the three is crazy, though. I'm not going to lie. 26% from the three is insane. You need to... Hey, Ben Simmons, take notes. Michael Carter-Williams couldn't shoot, and he was still taking them. 26% from the three. Take notes, my nigga. At least he's taking them, my nigga. Like, come on, my nigga.
Type game that was truly unique.
He's more valuable of a player than you. He's taking the shots.
But in hindsight,
he's getting triple doubles.
We probably should have also.
He's over here running the floor. Look at him. You look at Mario Chalmers trying to catch up with him.
That it was kind of fooled.
He can't.
The Sixers really prioritized him offensively to see what they had in him during the process, which inflated his stats. Not to mention the fact that he couldn't shoot at all. So him.
26 is crazy.
On a good team was out of the question as well. So he wins the Rookie of the Year award, and then halfway through.
But Ben Simmons can't either. And look at what he was doing. But Michael Carter-Williams ain't Ben Simmons. So
season the Sixers dump him to the Bucks.
Michael Carter-Williams actually takes jump shots.
The funny part about this is the Sixers got a first-round pick from Phoenix in the trade, which became
they're running fast. Look at Evan Turner.
Traded back to Phoenix on draft night for basically nothing.
Yeah, literally.
So the Sixers could have turned Carter-Williams into Bridges, who is the exact kind of player the process Sixers have.
They literally traded. I remember this. They literally traded away the pick that would have been Mikal Bridges just to get off a Michael Carter-Williams deal, or to ship Michael Carter-Williams off to Milwaukee. It's crazy. Imagine Mikal Bridges, because they would have had more picks. They were tanking at this time. They would have had more picks, more number one picks. They would have had Mikal Bridges. They would have had Ben Simmons. They would have had Joel Embiid when he came back. I think they drafted Joel Embiid last year or the year after this. So yeah, they would have been nice, bro. I'm not gonna lie, they would have been nice. But hey,
did if they just held on to the pick.
Literally.
Speaking of trade pieces, this next pick is a big one. The Thunder were picking 12th despite winning 60 games the year before. They were clearly one of the best teams in the league behind Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, but a first-round knee injury cost Westbrook all but 2 games of his 2013 postseason, leading to a disappointing second-round exit for OKC. But they had a great core of KD, Russ, Reggie Jackson, and Serge Ibaka, but notably missing from that list is, of course, James Harden, who they traded the offseason before for
hard,
a lot
man.
of different
Pause.
reasons, and is the reason why they had the 12th pick in the first place. What makes that trade even weirder is that this pick is really the only significant piece that they got in return for Harden in the long term. At 12, the Thunder picked Steven Adams, who did take some time to develop into a starting caliber center, but was a really solid player for them for a long time and was the 5 that they were searching for the entirety of the Durant era. He just didn't quite turn into that guy until after Durant left, unfortunately for them. And now we get to one of the greatest draft picks of all time.
I'm not gonna lie, that was
a 5 that they were searching for the entirety of the Durant era. He just didn't
I don't think you can do that
until after Durant left.
I don't think you can do that, Steven Adams.
And now we get to one of the greatest draft picks of all time. The Milwaukee Bucks.
Nah, yeah, Steven Adams, he's nice. He was, and then yeah, they got Giannis, but yeah, Steven Adams, he was a serviceable big man. If there was any team that should have picked him up, it should have been the fucking that needed a big man. Probably should have been. Trying to think, it probably should have been the fucking Cleveland Cavaliers, my nigga. They should have went. If they're gonna pick fucking Anthony Bennett first, they should have got Steven Adams. I'm not gonna lie, like if you going fucking like, well, but it worked out. Steven Adams
the entire
with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, it worked out. So
games the year before, but they honestly have no idea how. They had Monte Ellis, who they got in the Andrew Bogut trade with the Warriors, and as I mentioned earlier, they added Brandon Knight for Brandon Jennings during this offseason. But it was clear that they weren't very talented, which was made even more clear by the fact that they won just 15 games in the season immediately after this draft. But with this pick and this offseason as a whole, the Bucks created a championship team. Giannis Antetokounmpo falls to them at 15th, the mystery man of this draft. The physical talent with him was clear, and a high upside swing in a bad draft is never a bad idea. The thing was, Giannis went from an interesting late first-round prospect to maybe...
He was 6'10". I could have sworn he was like 6'8", 6'9", bro. I'm not gonna lie, but hey,
going early 20s to almost a lottery pick. If he didn't go 15th, the Hawks would have taken him at 17, and they nearly traded up in front of the Bucks to go and get Giannis. But make no mistake about it, this was a risk, and nobody had any idea if he would be good or not. There was talent, but he was about as far away from being a usable NBA player as you could possibly be at the time that he was picked.
Bro, but look at the work he's putting in, though. Look at the work. What other NBA players is doing this? Look at the work he's putting in, though. Look at skinny Giannis. Look at that jumper.
Didn't anticipate, though, was Giannis's work ethic and his size. He actually grew multiple inches after being drafted and is a notoriously hard worker, pushing himself from interesting rookie to starter to all-star to an MVP.
Yeah, I could have sworn like his first 2 years in the NBA, like he obviously wasn't like nice yet. But, bro, he was athletic. He was over here running the floor when he got the ball. He was over here posting niggas up. And even his jump shot was a little different. He had a little bit of a smoother J back in the day. His shit was a little bit more... It was looking like, like a little T-Mac, you know what I'm saying, form going on. Then now he shoots from his fucking... He shoots from his chin. I don't know. He shoots from his forehead. Like, I don't know what that is, but...
Players in the league.
It works.
I could honestly do a whole 30-minute video on the story of Giannis another day, but his path to the league is simply incredible. As was this entire offseason for the Bucks. Even though it didn't seem like it immediately, again, 15 wins the season right after this, the Bucks don't come close to winning the 2021 title without this offseason. They get Giannis, of course, but they also steal Chris Middleton away from the Pistons, who at the time was basically just a throw-in in a trade, and developed him into an all-star. Just an absolute dream offseason for Milwaukee. One more pick to cover here, and it is a big one, literally.
Oh yeah, Rudy Gobert was drafted this year? I thought he was drafted in 2014, bro. I'm crazy. I'm really crazy, bro. I got all these draft classes mixed up. Okay, Rudy Gobert was drafted in 2013. Okay. Defensive player of the year. Okay, this year you got a defensive player of the year, or 2 defensive player of the years. Giannis and fucking Rudy Gobert. Yeah, one nigga again that's an MVP and one nigga that's just, you know what I'm saying, taking niggas' bread, taking NBA franchises' bread. But hey, my nigga, I did not know this. I didn't know. I did not know that Rudy Gobert's draft was in the 2013 draft. I forgot completely. You know what I'm saying? I forgot. It was it was almost 10 years ago. So yeah, I'm gonna forget. So, but like yeah, like
27th overall, the Denver Nuggets were selecting, and
that's crazy. This draft class was 10 years ago. That is fucking insane. What the fuck?
just won 57 games before falling apart in the playoffs, and for some reason decided to basically just sell their first-round pick. They got a second-round pick and some cash while the Jazz moved up to 27 and picked Rudy Gobert. As disliked as he is now, Gobert was incredible value with the 27th pick. One of the best defensive players in the league.
And that's probably why I don't remember him. He was drafted at the 27th pick. After like the 20th pick, I don't pay attention to the draft. I'm just thinking, okay, most of these niggas here, they're going to be role players, or they might just develop into a star. They might just, you know what I'm saying, depending on what franchise picks him up. But I did not know. I forgot that he was drafted this year.
To get to that level, he eventually pushed out the entirety of the young and much higher drafted front court of Derek Favors and Enes Kanter in Utah, while also completely outplaying the much higher drafted pick within this exact draft, Trey Burke, who the Jazz traded up for at 9.
Yeah, nigga outplayed Trey Burke.
Without picks 15
How you get outplayed by a nigga that just plays defense?
Worst draft of all time, and in contention for the worst ever. If Giannis and Gobert didn't develop into who they did, this draft would have produced exactly one all-star caliber player, Victor Oladipo, and a handful of solid starters, and that's about it. One of the weirdest, dumbest, craziest drafts we've ever seen. The 2013 draft is also one of my favorites.
It's not wrong. Oh, okay, bro, Mac, I did not want to watch that. All right, bro. The 2013 NBA draft, he's not wrong about most of these. Giannis became goddamn all-star, became one of the best. He became the best player in the draft. Rudy Gobert became an all-star, you know, defensive player of the year. Victor Oladipo became an all-star. Fucking Otto Porter Jr. became motherfucking NBA champion. Nerlens Noel, he's I don't know. Anthony Bennett, he's ass. We don't talk about Anthony Bennett. So all in all, this draft class wasn't terrible. It only produced like 4 all-stars if you really want to talk about it. But I forgot CJ McCollum as well. It only produced like 4 all-stars if you really want to talk about it. But like it still wasn't as worse as like the 2000 draft class or like most draft classes back in the day, like in the 70s and in the 80s. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to get this out today. Love y'all. I'm out. Peace.